Let's start in Genesis, I believe, chapter number 37. Genesis chapter number 37. I do not intend to be very long tonight. Genesis chapter number 37. Now, we're taking off, we left off talking about Jacob. And Jacob wrestled with the Lord, and God changed his name. What did he change his name to?
Israel.
Israel. Very good. He changed him from the trickster, the schemester, the deceiver, to Israel, a prince with God. And Jacob had 12 sons, which became the 12 tribes of Israel. And we're going to talk about his sons this evening. Genesis chapter number 37 and verse number 1. And I need some people to help me read. I've got some people to help me read out loud. Could you start at verse number 1?
And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was, a stranger in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers. And the lad was with the sons of Zilpah. And with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, and Joseph brought unto his father their evil report.
Okay, look at this. We're talking about Joseph. And Joseph had older brothers. He was the younger brother. And what did the scripture say right there? It says that he brought to his father their evil report. Are you following me?
Right.
And so, what is that better known as? A tattletale. He was a tattletale. And I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I was the oldest. And I couldn't stand a tattletale. Well, some of you must have been the tattlers. Nobody likes a tattletale. So we find right off here that Joseph is a tattletale. So that pretty much lets you know right off bat that his brothers probably don't like him that much, because he's a tattletale. So he's got one strike against him here. Let's read on.
Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of old age.
Look at that. Israel loved Joseph more than all of his brothers, because he was the son of his old age. Now, he's a tattletale, and he's loved more. So they already don't like him because he's a tattletale, and now they're jealous of him because Dad loves him more. He's a little brat. Finish that verse.
And he made him a coat of many colors.
And he makes him a coat of many colors. On top of all that, Dad never gave me a coat of many colors. Spoiled little tattletale brat.
Right.
Painted a good enough picture about Joseph yet.
Yes.
His brothers did not like him. Read the next verse.
And when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him.
That not only were they jealous of him and didn't like him, it developed into, I hate him.
Right.
I hate my brother. Or I hate my mom. Or I hate my dad. Do you see what's happened here? It has turned into a hate.
Right.
Read on.
And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more.
All right. Now that he already didn't have some things against him, he dreamed a dream. And he didn't even keep the dream to himself. He had to go blab it off to his brothers. He didn't need any help with them hating him. They couldn't even speak a kind word to him. They didn't have a kind thing to say. Read on.
For who were binding sheep, and he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed.
All right, now why would they hate him more because of his dream? Well, let's see what the dream was, and then we might be able to figure this out.
For behold, we were binding sheep in the field, and lo, my sheep arose, and also stood upright, and behold, your sheep stood round about, and made obeisance to my
Yeah.
sheep.
Read on.
And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words.
All right, now, why did they hate him for his dreams? He said he had sheep. Does anybody know what a sheep is? There you go. It's a bundle of hay. He had a sheep, and his sheep stood upright, and all of his brothers had sheep, and their sheep bowed down and made obeisance. Basically, they said, You are our king, or you are our authority. Now, can you believe this? He was the little spoiled tattletale brat with the coat of many colors, and they hated him because Dad loved him more. And they couldn't speak a kind word to him, and he had to go blab his dream off and say, Guess what? I had a dream that all of you were going to bow down to me and call me the head honcho. Yeah, right. That's what they said. So after the dream, they hated him even more. Read on.
And he dreamed yet another dream.
He dreamed another dream, and he told his brethren it was also basically the same dream, the sun, the moon, the stars. Basically, he was saying that not only are my brethren, but my mom and my dad they're going to call me the elder or the authority. And his brethren hated him for his dream. Let's skip over to verse 12 and see what happened.
And his brethren went to keep their father's flock in
Shechem. Shechem. But that's kind of like that's a Hebrew word. And the Hebrew language, they never had phlegm build up because of their accent, the way they speak. So they would probably pronounce that something like Shechem. They had to spit after that. Joke. Read on.
And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem?
Yeah, you got those Shechems. I'm just joking. Go on.
And I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here am I. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with thy flock, and bring me word again. And he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem.
Very good. So, do you see what Dad has done here? Dad is saying, your brethren are in Shechem, and I want you to go check on them, and then come tell on them.
Right.
Go on and be a tattletale. Go check on your brethren and tell me what they're doing, whether they're doing good or not. So he sets off to check on his brothers. What happens though?
And a certain man said unto him, and behold, he was wandering in the field, and the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brother. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Joseph. And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Joseph.
All right. Can you imagine? Let's paint a little bit of a picture here. Can you imagine the brethren? They're in Shechem, and they know that Dad is going to send Joseph to check on them, probably. And they say, let's leave Shechem and we'll go over to Dothan. And that's Dothan over in the Middle East. There's actually a Dothan in Alabama, but that's not the Dothan in Alabama. We'll go to Dothan, and that way when our brother comes, he won't be able to find us. So they're in Dothan, and they think everything is just fine, and they have nothing to worry about. But let's see what happens.